So I'm offering people a different range of fabrics. They put in their orders and I ship them out. So I think I've made about £750 for ECMO so far.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I really am. So when you go on to mute, you won't be able to hear my sewing machine, but it will be going, I can assure you.
Is your foot working under the table?
Well, do you know what, Jo? I've got a lovely whiz-bang sewing machine. It's sort of a semi-professional one. And one of the features is that you don't have a pedal. You can use a pedal if you want to. I just press a button and it goes.
Incredible.
So yeah, it's a beautiful piece of machinery. It really is.
It's an amazing thing to do, isn't it?
Morning, Ollie. Morning, Tom.
Morning, David.
Morning.
Morning.
That's enough from me.
Wow.
Morning.
What a beautiful morning again. I'm loving this weather.
Beautiful.
Where are you calling from, Tom? Where's home?
I'm from my dining room in Ruislip. So, yes, excuse the mess behind me and some children that may appear or not appear.
Don't worry.
How is everyone?
Yeah, good.
Everyone looks pretty happy. So lots of smiling faces on the on my screen at the moment, which is great.
It's a pleasure to get dressed, David, for once this morning.
That's probably too much detail, actually.
Just the top
Apologies.
part. Just the top part.
Yeah, that's true. I won't stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Now, Dad, do I have to do anything else?
No, unless it's mood.
No. Well, it isn't.
Ooh. Okay, good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Business Owners Forum. So, for those of you who haven't joined before, this is a forum for business owners who want to learn. So, obviously, the environment's changing all the time, so there's lots of stuff to learn. But also, it's an environment where we want people to share, because you guys are at the forefront of everything that's happening out there at the moment, and therefore we want you to share your experience with the other business owners on the call to help those guys. But it's also an environment to debate stuff as well, because there's a lot of new stuff coming at us as business owners. So clearly we want to debate the issues and find a great solution to those too. So today we have two other coaches on the call. So we have Joe Bentley. So Joe, say hello.
Morning.
And hopefully we have Chris Evans. Chris, are you on the call?
Good morning, David. Good morning, everybody.
So just a few rules of the call. Can you keep yourself on mute until such time as you have a question? There'll be lots of opportunity to ask questions, but just keep yourself on mute during the call. If you want to share anything with anybody, just use the chat button as well and put stuff on chat too. So that's useful for people. Okay, so let's kick off. So I'm not going to apologize for showing you this again. So this is our route from the start of lockdown all the way getting to a really strong and vibrant business again. We've been through the lockdown period, we've been through the planning period, and now we're very close to lockdown ending and everybody getting back into business. So I think from a leadership perspective, we have to make sure that we are being leaders out there in the community. So we want to get back into business and get our economy moving again, but in a safe way. So that's what today's forum is all about, is how do we get back into business in a safe way and take a real leadership role. And to do that, I think there's two critical things that we have to think about. One is our mindset going into that, but also is how do we become persuasive and influential in our communities? Because in order to start businesses again, we've got to persuade our customers to buy again. We've got to give them the confidence to buy again. So how do we do that? So how do we go into the market with the right mindset? And how do we persuade them to buy again? So we're going to be dealing with those two subjects. So to start with, Chris is going to do a bit about mindset and the high performance mindset. And then I'm going to give you a couple of techniques, which are really great sales techniques that help your customers to buy again, give them the confidence to buy again. So Chris, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand over to you.
Thank you, David. Let me 2 seconds. I think it says my host has disabled my attendee screen sharing, so I think you might have to play it from your side, David.
Okay, can everyone see that?
No.
Can everyone see this, the slide that says powerful reasons to self-reflect?
No, just see photos of you guys.
It's not so bad.
Dad, if you press your share screen, you can give Chris the option of sharing his screen.
Okay, let me try and do that. Share screen. I can't see how to do that. Why don't I just do it for you, Chris?
That's very kind, David.
I can find the right presentation. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yeah, okay.
Great. Okay, over to you, Chris.
Perfect. Yeah, good morning, everybody, and obviously great to see some new faces on the call today, and welcome back to those people that have been with us, I guess, on this journey over the last 10 weeks. This morning, I'm going to spend the next sort of 7 or 8 minutes just talking about the importance of self-reflection, but also how that self-reflection fits into the high-performance context. I think we've all been through some challenging moments over the last sort of period during lockdown and as we start to come out of lockdown. But actually, our businesses over the next 12 months will really determine how well we perform in order to get us to that next level. So our performance will actually dictate how well our businesses do during and as we come out of this lockdown period, depending which business your sector fits into. So firstly, I want to just talk a little bit about the high performance model and context. Slide, please, David. And again, please, if you may. So I think if you looked at any high performance model, I've been studying this for a number of years, there are many ingredients, I think, which make up high performance. I think if you went to Google today and typed in factors that contributed to high performance, you'll hit millions of hits. But I've really distilled this down into 4 key ingredients, which I think are important for you to consider today as business owners and business leaders. Firstly, your habits. Okay, so your rituals and routines. How are they impacting on your performance? So are your habits, rituals, routines propelling your performance forwards and making you better business owners, better leaders, better people? Or are they inhibiting your performance? Are they detracting from the way you should and want to conduct your business? So really having a real think about what your habits are on a daily basis. The second part is execution. So how well do we execute our daily routine and habits, and how often do we reflect on our performance in terms of our execution? So often we tend to reflect on our execution of a task when it's gone wrong. So when we've lost a deal or something's gone wrong with a team member, a partner, a client, a customer, how often do you analyze your execution on when something's gone well? Because actually, if we can analyze those moments and understand what we've done really well in the moment that's created success and performance, there's a much greater chance of being able to repeat that in order to win things in the future. Simplicity, so important. I think some of the greatest athletes in the world, and I was speaking to Jamie Heaslip about this, the previous Irish captain, British Lions player just a few weeks ago. It's just doing the simple, basic things really, really well. So is your business model simplistic in terms of its nature? Can you describe your vision, your purpose, how you communicate to your clients and your partners? Is it simple to understand? People live really frantic and busy lives, but they will buy into things that are really super clear and simplistic. So is your business model, the way you deliver your business and how you perform, do the simple stuff really, really well? And hard work, the term that, there's no silver bullet, I came across a client last week, is really, really valid. So there's no silver bullet that will get us out of the situation that we're in. And actually, there's no silver bullet that will take us to the places that we want to go to. It is built on hard work. Now, are you working hard on the right things that will drive your business? Are you working on the right things that will help and propel your leadership capability and performance? Or are you working hard on the habits that you've ingrained that are actually detracting from your business and your performance today? So for me, a super simple equation below: the habits and the way you execute them, the simplicity plus the hard work creates your performance. And for me, this is all about momentum. So the more we can do the simple things really well, ingrained with really good habits, executing really, really well, combined with the work ethos and performance that you've done previously, will enable you to get to that next level. And it's almost like a bit of a flywheel effect, right? So we're not looking for huge gains on a day-to-day basis. It's really difficult to do that. But what can we do tomorrow 1% better than we did the day before? And that creates that flywheel, as Jamie Heaslip talked about it, almost like compound interest. And actually, we just create this momentum that enables us to develop our performance over time. A slide, please, David. So if there's anything you take away from, I guess, my session this morning is not my ability to share my own screen, but actually maybe the mnemonic ACE. And why is it important to self-reflect on those sort of 4 ingredients I've just spoke about? Firstly, it enables you to ask the questions of your performance. The only person that knows how well you're performing is you. But if you do not take that time at the end of the day to ask yourself how you're performing, then you're truly never going to understand how you can improve. I tend to prefer to do something around what 3 things have gone really well for me today. Actually, because that way I can celebrate the small wins, which I know will bring me momentum as a business leader. And also, what is the one thing I would do differently today if I had that chance again? And again, please, David. It creates clarity and perspective. For me as a leader, one of the most important pieces of the jigsaw is for you as a leader to have the ability to step back from the situation. Often when we're involved in the situation, we can become quite emotive. Our judgment becomes clouded. And therefore, it's really difficult to gain perspective. They always say hindsight's a wonderful thing. Well, actually, you can almost create hindsight, being able to take that step back, look at it at the end of the day before making a really important decision. So create clarity and purpose and perspective on the situation by removing yourself as a leader from that situation, reflecting at the end of the day. And this one's really critical for me. I think it's important that it enables you to help others. So at the end of the day, being able to reflect in terms of, from a self-efficacy point of view, firstly, to reach out to thank people that are doing things for you, whether that's in your team, your clients, customers, stakeholders. But it enables you to remember those people that are helping you on this journey. And I know full well, we've all been in this situation over the last 12 weeks. There's been some really influential people and people that have stuck by you during this difficult time. Really have. And they're the people that we want to thank, reward, and stay with us on the next part of the journey. Now, often people say, what's the best way of self-reflecting? How should I ingrain that into my day? And it's for you as owners and leaders, that's entirely up to you. I think you've got to find the right process that fits in with your working day. Some people like to do it through, a jog, a walk at the end of the day. Some people like to write a journal. How you do it is entirely up to you, but empower yourself and ingrain that process so it becomes a habit for you, which will enable you to drive your performance to the next stage. Slide, please, David. So your habits, the last 12 weeks has been super interesting, I would say, for everybody. You know, our motivational value system is ingrained in it at a very early age, and it takes something significant in life to change things that will enable us to look at things in a different picture. So I just want you to take the next 30 seconds, grab pen, paper, iPhone, anything it's near to you. And I want you to just write down 3 simple things for me. What are you going to stop doing today that is impacting negatively on your performance? So what are you going to stop doing today that's negatively impacting on your performance? And that could be performance from a work perspective as a business leader, or even from your personal perspective. What are you going to continue doing? So maybe what have you learned over the last 10 or 12 weeks, or even over the last 6 months that's working really well for you? What are you going to continue to doing? Because that is delivering value to you as an owner and as a leader. And what are you going to start doing? So maybe there's something that's clicked over the last period. Whilst we've been at home, we've had ample opportunity to reflect. What are you going to start doing today that will impact your performance moving forward?
Okay, this is for 10. The level will plan last David.
David, I'll now open it up back to yourself.
The 12. If we got plan last David before him.
So, guys, if you can just write down those 3 questions, the answer to the questions, and then maybe in a couple of seconds we'll ask some people to share. So anyone want to share some stuff that they want to stop doing to start with? Just shout or put your hand up. I can see most of you on the screen. So anyone want to share something they're going to stop doing? Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple of ideas really in terms of what to stop doing. And as Chris says, there has been a lot of time over the last few weeks to think about things. So quite often when you're looking after a sales team or any team, it's fair to say, you have to bring in new ideas and make changes. And one thing that I'm a bit prone to doing is being a bit too concerned about how people are going to react to those things. And what I've kind of worked through over the last few weeks is that actually, if I'm pretty sure, if I've got a good hunch that it's a good idea and for the overall good of the company, it just needs to get done, and I need to be concerned less about how people are going to react in the short term. So that's one idea of what I'm going to stop doing. And then ironically, another one is sometimes I actually find myself over-analysing how I feel I'm personally doing, if that makes sense. And I think that's also something I need to sort of put the brakes on slightly as well. So there's a couple of ideas in terms of what I'm going to try and stop doing. One last thing, I suppose, just to add to that. What I found worked really well in this period is, we talked about it, Chris, actually before, but the need to bring the two managers together so we kind of form a triangle of managers. And through thick or thin, we've had these bi-weekly meetings over the last few months, but that hasn't stopped in the lockdown period. And actually, I think that's been even more important to do in this period. And I definitely want to carry on doing that, and that has worked well.
That's fantastic. And do you know what's really interesting, Richard, I think just on that, especially the first point is, as leaders, it's important to do the right thing for the business and the overall greater good of the company. And we've got to understand when we make these decisions, it's not always the fact that we can control the emotions and the behaviors of the people on the journey. But as long as the vision and what the purpose we're trying to achieve is clear and they can understand the bigger picture, then in time, they will come onto that way of thinking. So I think that's really valid. And as leaders, that's the reason we get paid, right? That's the reason why you're in the hot seat, is to make the right decisions not always on the basis of what the team needs. So thanks for that, Richard. Really important.
Anybody got anything they want to start doing? Habits that they've learned over the last 2 or 3 weeks or 8 weeks that are good for them and they want to continue on? Anybody want to share any of those?
Well, I can. Sorry, can you hear me, David?
Yes, Janet, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I've been doing, and maybe it's seasonal as much as anything else, but because it's much lighter in the morning, I've been waking up quite early. And so I'm sitting down early in the morning at about 5 o'clock and running through things that I don't normally get a chance to focus on during the day when I'm busy with client work or getting, involved in sales calls or things like that. And I actually find it helps me clear my mind, and also I actually get a lot of work done. So if you do it for 2 hours in the morning, that's 10 hours a week. It's a way of being very productive. So you get a lot more work done.
That's Janet. I really like that. And there's a few people I've spoke to over the last few weeks in terms of clients, and they have this phrase in terms of owning their morning. So actually, it's some of the productive time when we can think and do our best with no distractions. But what's really exciting is it sets you up perfectly for the day. Because as the day goes on, things can happen, clients, customers, stakeholders, family, life can get in the way, and that's okay. But actually, if we own our morning, exactly what you said, it sets you up in a really positive mindset to deliver on what you want to do on your terms going forward. So thanks for sharing, really like that.
Fantastic. Anything that, any other ideas that people have got that have worked really well for them they'd like to share with everyone else? Francesca, unmute yourself. You're on mute, yes? Oh, go ahead.
We, before in the company, we kind of had one person doing social media, and it was normally the intern, who was great at it because she was youngest and she knew all the tricks and stuff that we didn't know. But over lockdown, we've had everybody involved in it, which actually has worked so much better because you get the kind of really real feel of the company. And it's really brought our social media following up, but the team together a lot because they've all got really excited about it, and it's been such a focus that we've seen progress on. So that's been really good, and we want to carry on doing that.
That's really good. And firstly, you've got the best office environment out of everybody here on the call today. So congratulations for creating that incredible office environment. But also, it just goes to show how important knowledge is by sharing that knowledge within the organization, because then we know, firstly, what our roles and responsibilities are and how people are performing. But also it enables us to help others out that are maybe struggling with some of their own work and areas of business. So that sharing brings us together. That we always talk in, if you heard Vicky speak about last week, that common shared sense of purpose. And if we all know where we fit into that bigger picture, then actually it helps us drive our performance better. Great stuff.
Fantastic. So let's move off this subject now and move on to the next subject, which is all about getting sales starting again, because our economy is driven by sales. So I'm just going to share my screen again and go back to this. Okay, so over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been speaking to clients a lot, and clients have been telling me, hey, they've got a lot of customers that are on the edge of buying, but they're hearing noises like, well, I'll think about it a bit, or, which means no, by the way, or not yet, which also means no, by the way, or when things get back to normal, then I'll buy, which also means no. Now, it's our job to get them to yes. We need to get them to yes, but we don't need to get them to yes in a crass way or a salesy way, because that damages our relationship with them. So we need to get them to yes in a way that builds our relationship with them. And in order to do that, I think you've got to use in your techniques a real understanding of the psychological drivers that drive human beings. And I've got 7 of them here. These are the 7 psychological drivers that drive human beings. So the first one is love. So everyone wants to be loved. Now, in a sales sense, that means, does the other person care about me? Because if they don't care about me, I don't want to buy from them. So we've got to show them we care. The second thing is that all people love to feel important. So we need to show our clients that they're important to us. We need to show them that. And thirdly, everyone likes to belong. Now, in a sales sense, in a business sense, that means that our clients need to believe that we're in the same canoe, rowing in the same direction as them. We're part of their team, not just a supplier that wants to sell them something. So this technique that we use appeals to all of those three psychological drivers. And it's something we call, I saw this and thought of you. Now, I've been teaching this for a long time and I've used it myself. So what this is when you see something either on the news or on social media or a book or a video that you think is going to be really relevant and important to one of your clients, you just send it to them and say, hey, Johnny, I saw this and I thought of you. I thought it might be useful in you doing this project or you progressing this issue. So what do you think they feel when you do that? Well, first of all, they know you care about them. Secondly, they think, well, you know, David's got about 100 clients, so if he's taken the effort to send this to me, he must think I'm a pretty important client, right? And also it tells them that you're batting with them, yeah? You're on the same side as them, you're belonging. Now, I sent, I think, about 5 of those, 6 of those over the last 2 weeks. And in every single case, the prospect came back. The person who I've been trying to persuade to come on board, all of them came back to me. And since then, 3 of them have become customers. So this is something that if you do it well and do it timely and think about it, is a great way of connecting customers and persuading them to buy again. So that's the first technique. The second technique leverages 3 other emotional drivers or psychological drivers. The first one is everyone has to believe in something in the future that's positive. Now, if right now they believe, oh, there's going to be a recession and oh, there's no one out there buying, then they're not going to buy. So we have to influence their belief set. The next psychological driver is the balance between certainty and uncertainty. People like certainty because it makes them feel safe, and they like uncertainty because it's exciting. But at the moment, what's out there at the moment is too much uncertainty. So we have to create more certainty to persuade people to buy. And the last psychological driver is growth. People want more. They still want more. Regardless of the environment, people want more. So obviously our proposals to them have got to give them more of something they like fairly quickly. So not long term, but in the next 3 or 4 months, because they want more now. So at the moment, we've got to get their caution, get rid of their caution and make it into action. And we do that by going through these 4 steps. First of all, the ask step. So ask them what they're uncertain about right now. Ask them what they're believing right now. Because if you do that, then they're going to relate to you. And then controversially, agree with them. Say, yeah, I can really understand that. Because then you're on the same boat as them. You're rowing in the same direction. So agree with them. Then try and isolate the one thing that's holding them back. So I'll say something like, now, often when my clients have got a problem, there's one particular thing that's holding them back. Now, in your case, Johnny, what would that one particular thing be for you? So then we can isolate the thing that's holding them back and deal with it. And to deal with it, we tend to ask what we call a hypothetical question. So that might be, well, hey, Johnny, let's just imagine that COVID-19 didn't happen. Would you make this investment? And he'll say, yeah, I probably would. And then you go back to the belief thing. We'll say, we've just established that it's only going to be temporary and it's going to give you more of this stuff. So what's holding you back? Then you've created the scenario where you've created belief in the future, you've got rid of a lot of the uncertainty, and you've tempted them to grow their business. So if you go through those steps, you can get rid of the caution and turn that caution into action. Again, this is a technique that if you do it skillfully, it really, really works. So address those issues that are holding people back and move forward. So the question I want to ask you today is, what's holding you back right now? What are some of the uncertainties that are stopping you getting back into your market, asking people to buy in this way, and starting up and being positive in the business? So that's the question I'm going to ask you right now. What's holding you back? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see you all and ask you that question. What's holding you back right now? Any volunteers on what's holding you back right now?
Sorry, what do you mean by holding us back in terms of making sales? Or
Yeah, asking your customers to buy again.
I don't seem to be having a problem with that at the moment, to be honest. So people are still buying, because I guess what we offer is a long-term process. It's not just a short, quick fix. So.
And how have you given them confidence to buy, Janet?
Well, when I speak, so I've probably got about 5 sales conversations today. I did a webinar last week and I presented on a webinar, and these conversations have come through from the webinar. And when I speak to people, I always start a sales conversation by finding out more about them and their business and where they're currently at and what the problem is. So a lot of what I do is finding out about them before I start talking about what we can do to help them. So it's always identifying their situation and their needs, and then what I do, rather than sell, it's more of a conversation. So we talk about how we work, and I provide examples of how we work with other people at the moment in the current times and what we're doing at the moment with our current clients. So bring it back to the present rather than anything else. And then based on that, if they want to proceed, then I go back to them with a proposal. So it is a long it's a long process, because developing a brand is a long process as well.
But interesting enough, Janet, you're out there doing webinars, talking to prospects. So you're creating the communication in a way that's giving them what they need, the information they need, and the certainty to buy.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. Thank you. Brilliant. Any other good examples of being out there in the marketplace selling with confidence? Ollie, go ahead.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know me, I work in the events industry, hospitality. So one of the probably hardest hit through COVID and everything. So in regards to encouraging the sales or changing people's mindset towards that, I think that and it was something I wanted to bring to the group when it was available, that, you know, to believe, from my point of view, to always believe that there was an opportunity, because I believe that this will slow down at some point. But in ways of what's holding us back, myself, is obviously the certain things of just what the government is setting out in rules, and then obviously the overhanging of COVID. There's people's uncertainty, they have fear of being safe or unsafe. So everything that you just touched on there, David, obviously when talking to people, because I'm very much further down the line and in the process of hopefully doing something along the river, end of July, beginning of August, which is a socially safe distance dining venue. And in the past 3-4 weeks, talking to people about their feelings and getting their responses, and by reassuring them that we are ticking the boxes, that they are safe, we are sticking to government rules, and especially after last night's announcement, that has given people hope. And by me giving them that hope, I found that people responded better. They were responding to better things in their own life because it gave them something to look forward to. We're still very much in the preliminary stages, but by doing that, by me talking, by opening communication, by giving them a visual sense of what it could be, allowed them to look forward to something. And from my point of view of what my job I take pride in, is that giving them something to look forward to and enjoy. So I guess it's reassurance. And through that, I did something quite, not sneaky, I wouldn't say sneaky, that I started talking to a couple of people I know are quite good gossiping people around Henley. And
there aren't anyone like that, are there, in Henley?
I mean, I can't think of anyone. I mean, there's no one like that. And in the process, I actually had, so I mentioned that we might be doing something in the summer. And within 3 weeks, it came back to me from a total stranger. They said, "Oh, have you heard something might be on?" And that obviously was a lovely feeling because people were thinking about it. They didn't know the details. And through that gives you confidence, my self-confidence. It gives just hope. And that's a really long answer. So I'm really sorry about that for grabbing on that long. But yeah, there it is.
But that's great, because what you're doing is giving people belief and hope, right? And also you're dealing with the things they're uncertain about. And I think on the safety side, we have to show people physically that we're behaving safely. So if you can do that, it gets rid of a lot of their uncertainty. So talking about the things you're going to put in place to keep people safe is a critical thing. And you'll notice some of the best retailers there, they're really putting a lot of stuff in place to reopen so that people feel safe. The 2-meter barriers, the perspex stuff. That's really, really important.
And just on that, Ollie, it's really interesting hearing you say that. I'm glad my messaging got around Henley for you. But I think it's what's really important actually in the situation that you clarified is when there is uncertainty, people want to follow other people. They want a leader. They want to be able to follow somebody to set the direction and say, it's okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and you're going to enjoy it, you're going to be safe, and we're going to have fun. And actually when they see that, that's incredible, because it can create movement at scale. So being that leader in your in the industry, in your own community, is absolutely huge. And it's actually what people are crying out for as well. So, great stuff.
Thank you.
Interestingly, on those 2 points, Janet and Ollie, you both came from a place of care, didn't you? There wasn't a hard sell. And that's where the blocker might be psychologically for a lot of us right now, that we don't feel comfortable to sell. It's not the right time. People are going through their stuff. And really interestingly, both of you came from a place of care. What can I do for you? By Janet asking and doing a webinar, so not directly kind of approaching, and by Ollie trying to do something for the greater good. It shows that you care, and it takes that psychological blocker away to approach people on it. Great examples.
And interestingly enough, on the psychological drivers, that one at the top, love or care, is the strongest by far. In fact, to prove that, there has only 5 songs been written in the world. I don't know whether you know that, and they're all around love. So the first one is I love you forever. Second one is I'm leaving you, but I'm coming back. The third one is I'm leaving you and I'm not coming back. The fourth one is I'm leaving you, you're leaving me, please come back. And the last one is you're leaving me, thank God, good riddance. So if you look at all the songs you listen to over the next couple of days, just see if that's true. I maintain that most of the songs in the world are about love, and just those 5 songs. So try that one. Anyone else got any good examples on ways they've given people reassurance to buy and really started getting going again over the last couple of weeks?
If I may, David, excuse me, I think that Peter's nailed it, really. We're opening our clinic again on Monday, and over the past number of weeks we've been taking calls which were redirected to his mobile phone wanting to be put on a waiting list. They've now been transferred onto a proper list. We've got a full clinic of treatments next week with 10-minute gaps in between each patient, so that there's no crossover in the waiting room, and also that the practitioners have time to clean down. We've got cough and sneeze guards, we've got tape on the floor, we've got masks, we've got every possible piece of PPE that you can think of. Patients are being asked to wait in their car till they're called. They are told their temperature will be taken on entering the clinic. There's even a message, if you ring our clinic, there is this very short recorded message saying, if you've had any COVID symptoms recently, or anybody that you've been in touch with in your household, then please call back in 14 days. We really think we've covered off everything. People have had MailChimps, emails, it's all on the website. We've trained the reception team yesterday. We unfurloughed them today. And so they came in for a training session yesterday. So they know that they can be safe as well working at the clinic. So yeah, we think we've covered everything.
What I like about that, Caroline, is the personal communication. So you and Peter have spoken personally to your clients.
Yeah.
I don't know whether any of you have had lots of NAF messages from banks and institutions where clearly it's just a MailChimp that says, dear, la, 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 la. They don't really know your name. It's really impersonal. It's horrible. So the more personal you can make your communication, the more people feel important. And that's a key thing to get people back on board again.
The open rate for recent MailChimp was near 70%.
That's incredible. 70%.
Incredible, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great. Anyone else got any good examples they want to share? Aaron.
I'll just say, just to chip in, use your data. Your data is one of the things that will give you the most confidence, and it's how you can then help, how we're helping, is by giving time to help explain that data, and just by showing businesses their performance, their visibility, their numbers, and making them put it in a simple way that they can understand. That will give people confidence, and they will feel the love in that you taking your time to show them that and say, look, it's okay. It's not as bad as you thought. Things will be okay. Look at trends, look at a bigger data set, look at year on year, look at the last 18 months, look at overall trends, shifting patterns. That approach, and then coupling it with, and I will take my time to show you and help you and get you to understand and answer your questions and be a sounding board. That does two things. It gives them the confidence to actually think, okay, this is fine. It is a blip. We'll be okay. People are still looking for my product, my service. They still need our service, our help. And actually, hey, you are helping me. So you're top of mind. You've been there when I needed that help, when I needed that guidance. So that's just what we're doing.
That's great, because what you're doing, Aaron, is you're taking away the uncertainty. You're saying, look at the facts, because most people fear stuff that's totally irrational. Yeah, it's an emotional fear rather than a real fear. And when people see the data, they say, well, okay, it's not that bad actually, is it? Let's do it. Great example. Sam, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, just briefly. And Ollie, just briefly, I was on a call with somebody from the that included Sarah, the CEO of the River and Rome Museum, and they are planning an event in July, all obviously linked to the museum, but also strongly around the river. So it seems like perhaps a good person to speak to. I'll happily share her details with David, and he can pass them on to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm like Ollie in, I went from 94 clients to 0 overnight because all of my clients are American and they're not coming over anymore. And on the basis that they're not going to be here until November, December at the very earliest, we're targeting the British high net worths who equally are not going to be flying off to far-flung places. And I'm trying to address all the fears of them going to places like, Blenheim and Highclere and having family days and so on. So we're producing a book. Never produced a book before, so it's all a bit scary, but I seem to have people who are helping me out. So doing that, and then really highly targeting through Facebook ads, even using leaflets and Google ads and LinkedIn activity just to hit British hotels, because we're partnering with quite a few of the hotels. They're in the same boat as I am, to really inspire and just get people excited about getting out into the English countryside, which they probably haven't done for quite some years because they tend to go abroad. So we're trying to give them as much information as we possibly can to get them excited, but also reassure them that they will be, all of the activities and experiences will be socially distant. So launching that in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sam. Again, it's giving them loads of information to make sure their uncertainties turn into certainties. So good stuff. Any other questions for Chris, myself, or Joe before we finish up this morning? Just looking around the Zoom window. Don't think so. Okay, so it's nearly time anyway. So what I want to leave you with is, look, as business leaders, it's our responsibility to go and restart the economy again. So let's think about that. Let's do our bit. Let's go out there. There's plenty of people out there who'll buy if we use our confidence, if we go out there and lead, as Chris says. Yes, do it safely. Of course we want to do it safely, but let's go out there and get this economy going again, because I think it's been long enough. We'll do it safely, but let's get started. So any questions after this, please drop us a line and either myself, Joe, or Chris will help you. But have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks, David.
Bye,
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.